Should be all good now. Okay, awesome. So guys, we got a good schedule today. We got mainly two things. We got Celeste later today, where we're going to be continuing our grind to the summit, our golden grind, how I become the golden god and get all the golden berries. I think I got only 10 left, I think, if I had to do my count right. So that should be exciting. I'm going to be doing that for a couple of weeks. But before that, we need to address the elephant in the room. Today's Tech Tuesday, and it's not a Wednesday. Tech Tuesday on a Wednesday. I know. Make all the jokes, all the memes. I know, I get it. But would you rather have Tech Tuesday on a Wednesday or none at all? Exactly. So we're going to have it today. And we got a good show today. We got Microsoft trying to buy Nintendo. That'll be interesting. Got some Elon Musk stuff in the mix. And we got, as you could probably guess, AI stuff. Ever since I've done Tech Tuesday, it seems like AI finds a way to squirm its way into the conversation every time. So we got a good stream. We got a good stream today. Oh, it ruins the illusion. Oh no. Don't see it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it yet. All right, now you can look at it. All right, let's go. Gamers. We all know that gamers are the most oppressed minority group of all time. This is a known fact. We all know this. No other minority group is as oppressed as gamers, except maybe there is one. I know, it's crazy, but I think I found a group of people which may have to be even more oppressed than gamers, okay? Are you ready for them? Game devs. I think it's people who make the games themselves. Sure, gamers have it tough. All the different stereotypes about being stinky and not showering and just being really antisocial and really weird. And maybe a lot of that's true, but still hurtful nonetheless. But game devs, on the other hand, not only do they have all those stereotypes for being gamers themselves, but they also, on average, have 12 to 14 hour days for 7 days a week during their crunch session. So hopefully I'm painting a picture here that really sucks to be a game dev, especially if you have a game dev for a huge company for these big games like Cyberpunk 2077 or Red Dead Redemption games or any of these Fallout games. We all know these people have long days, long underpaid days just to make the games we love. And it's really not fair. Okay, so it really sucks to be a game dev. It's what I'm trying to establish to the rest of you. But what if I told you I had to do even more? What if I told you had to worry about sexual harassment too? Okay, if you're working at Activision and Blizzard, imagine those 70-hour, 80-hour crunch sessions and you get harassed, sexually harassed? Oh man, couldn't be me. Okay, at least if you're designing a game, you're having fun doing that, and at least you're making the money along the way eventually, right? Well, what if I told you that's not even, if you're an indie game dev, you're probably not gonna make any money at all. Let's read this quote right here. Revenue distribution in the entertainment industry is not linear at all. It's logarithmic, so it's not good. In 2020, top 1% of indie games made above 7 million. Top 14% made above 100K, so 50K after tax, and bottom 50% games never surpassed $4,000. Imagine spending all this time, sacrifices, not talking to people, not talking to girls, not showering at all, just to make less than $4,000. Or if you're top 14%, you make 50K after tax. 50K is about the average salary in the US. So you spend all these years grinding just to make 1 year's worth of money. So all this combined together makes it really suck to be a game dev, in my opinion, makes it even more surprising when I saw this. Unity decided to release this video a couple days ago.
The worst day of my life.
The worst day of your life so far.
Why? Because what did Unity do? They said, fuck you, game devs, and decided to make it so they charge a game dev every time there's an install or download of a game. Do you understand what this means? Imagine every single time someone buys a game, someone installs my game, I now have to pay Unity. So, it's not, really the best. So I think one, tweet really summed up a lot of the feelings that a lot of people had about all this. It's oh shit, guess I owe Unity $5.6 million. Anyone got spare change? So Danny Dev is a big YouTube gaming dev guy. He makes a lot of YouTube videos about making games and game dev. A lot of his games have become very popular, and under this new ruling, you'd have to pay $5.6 million to Unity, an indie game dev, which I don't even know if that doesn't make you like, what the fuck, Unity? I don't know what will. So I bet the main question you're all asking, the question I was asking, why did Unity decide to do this? This seems like a bad decision that everyone's going to hate You need a really, really good reason in order to do this. And they have a good reason for it. And at the end of the day, it all comes back to anime and Genshin Impact. So if you've been on the internet or watch any gaming YouTube videos, you've seen Genshin Impact ads. But if you don't and been living under a rock, I'm going to explain to you what Genshin Impact is. Genshin Impact is one of the biggest games right now. One of the biggest games. Has a lot of anime waifus, so you already know it's going to be big, and it's a gacha game. Those two things together, you know, it's going to be a huge hit. What does this have to do with Unity? Genshin Impact has to have over 100 million different downloads and has millions of active users per month. So Unity is kind of upset that they're not getting any of this money from games like Genshin Impact. So rightfully so, they're like, we gave you all the tools to make this game. And they're like, why don't we get a cut of some of that? And sure, that can make sense, but what they fail to realize is, if I'm Genshin Impact, or if I'm like thinking about making the next Genshin Impact, I'm just gonna say, I'm just not gonna work with Unity. And they're gonna charge me all this money, I'm just not gonna work with them. That's what I'd be thinking anyway. Like, why would I use this if they're gonna charge me all this extra money? I might as well just do a different game engine. And, you know, I'm a weird guy, so sometimes people don't think the way I do. But in this case, people thought exactly how I thought, because look at their stock after they announced this. I check YouTube to see what our biggest creators are talking about. And when I look up Unity, the first two things that come up are Unity is ruined. And then the second thing is Unity ruined their game engine forever. This is obviously a terrible, terrible, no good, very bad, terrible decision. Was the anime waifu really worth it, Unity? Well, they don't think so anymore because they immediately offer a retraction, don't double down. To be honest, I kind of, after the stock going down and everybody calling them out for how dumb this is, it's very obvious why they want to do a retraction. But, you know, I kind of think the funnier timeline is that they just double down. So they say, Unity, we have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst. The runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday calls. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we will be making changes to the policy. We'll share an update in a couple days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. So yeah, that's what Unity's been doing. And from my experience, I've talked to a lot of people who are making games or thinking about making games. And what they said is, even if Unity changes this, they're just so scared that Unity even thought or could do this whenever they want that they're just not going to work with Unity again. So I think it was right with the last slide that Unity did ruin their game engine forever. I mean, we'll have to see in the future how many like top games, how many of the best selling games are made in Unity. But I think this is like really bad for them. It could really hurt them down the line. But, you know, we'll see. But from one gaming powerhouse to another, Microsoft. Okay. As you know, Microsoft has a lot of games under their belt. Pretty good. Have Halo, one of the biggest shooting franchises ever. My PC has Windows. I don't know. I love Microsoft. Pretty cool. You know what's not cool though? Bing. Besides Bing, and they're constantly being shat on every day by Google trial. If you don't know about that trial, watch my last episode, Tech Tuesday. Should be on YouTube in a couple days, so that was really good. It's about how Google's main defense is just how Bing sucks ass. But I'm going on a tangent. Besides that, Microsoft is pretty cool. That was until one of the biggest leaks in the company's history happened a couple of days ago. So what exactly happened? What was on the leaks? Microsoft revealed a massive amount of information about forthcoming Xbox refreshes, next-gen systems, and more after uploading a series of unredacted documents to a court website as part of the ongoing Federal Trade Commission versus Microsoft case. So if you don't remember, guys, Microsoft had a big court case with the FTC. To my recollection, it was about whether they could acquire, was it Activision Blizzard, I think? It was whether they could acquire a huge company. So that was what it was about. And I guess in the court case, some of those documents got leaked, which is kind of awkward too, considering I think their big Xbox reveal is tomorrow. So kind of awkward, not gonna lie, kind of awkward, Microsoft. That happened, but what are you gonna do? So what was on the leak though? Okay, so one thing on the leak was, you know, there's stuff about their new Xbox, you know, their new controller, you know, stuff like that. It seems like one cool thing which I learned about is that they're thinking about making their console hybrid cloud. And what that essentially means is that they get some data from the cloud to help out with their games, and then the other half would just be like run on the console itself. So the example they use was that if you had a game which was trying to simulate flying in the air, that you go to the cloud to get real-time weather data and then put that in the game. So That's really cool. Also seems like because of that system, a lot of these games are going to have to be play on online only. That's interesting. Could make some games cooler, some games more annoying. Hopefully it makes sense when the games need to be online. But the thing that really struck me was that Microsoft Phil Spencer says acquiring Nintendo would be a career moment. It's true. Microsoft is thinking about buying Nintendo. Nintendo and Microsoft have done some good deals lately. You know what? The one I thought of most was Minecraft Steve in new Super Smash Bros. Game. So they're willing to work together. Microsoft owning Nintendo, I mean, beforehand I would say this has to be banned. But given they were just in a case about acquiring a big company and then being like pretty much getting away with it, I don't know. This might happen, which I don't like at all, but that's left to be determined. We'll see how that goes. You know what? We talked enough about video games today. You talked a lot about video games, so maybe we should just take a deep breath, touch grass, eat some good food, smell the air, see the animals, okay, go to a farm or something. Maybe we should just do that. And speaking of animals in a farm though, chicken. So this is a nice piece of chicken, okay? Looks pretty cool, looks pretty juicy. But the thing is, this isn't normal chicken. This is all lab-grown chicken. I don't know, I just looked at it for a second and I was like, chicken, and just kept sliding through. But, you know, it's a lab-grown chicken, which is cool. And the only problem is that Upside, maybe a little sussy-wussy with the way they're promoting the chicken. Okay, so the problem is that Upside Chicken has this proprietary way of making their chicken. And they promised that in one location, they could produce almost 3 million chicken a month. And turns out they've been lying about this. A whistleblower said, one day people are going to find out that none of the things work. The employee says of the tissue cultivators, but Upside staffers continue to show off the reactors to guests on tours of the facility, suggesting that they are part of a functioning process. The employee says, it's like cute story, y'all. The current employee adds, Valenti pointed out the bioreactors out to Wired on the factory tour in May 2022. These are a special set of cultivators where we can go around ground meats and also whole cuts, he said at the time. But the problem is that a lot of these don't work. They can't produce the amount that they're claiming they are to their investors. So I think they said they could only actually produce 100K, which is just such a lie, which I get, you know, the Grussel, you know what, fake it till you make it. But my problem is that with these companies, this fake it till you make it mentality reminds me a lot of one CEO named Elizabeth Holmes, who made Theranos, who also had a very fake it till you make it mentality. And we all know how that ended. But maybe I'm just jumping, okay? Maybe I'm just like exaggerating a little bit. The thing is though, the employees agree with me though. They say, but former and current employees say that these claims exaggerate Upside technical abilities. Internally, employees would joke that this startup could be the next Theranos. So the blood testing startup that imploded spectacularly, ending with its founder Elizabeth Holmes being convicted of fraud, it was a running joke. Are we the next Theranos? Says one former employee. I don't think it necessarily means that they are the next Theranos, the former employee adds. No one is dying. People are being lied to, but no one is gonna die, ideally. Ideally? What do you mean, ideally? So, I found that really funny. So, we'll see where this chicken place ends up. Let's talk about another tech company. Another tech company that potentially go from high to very low very fast. And we gotta talk about the leader of that company. Elon Musk. What is old musky man doing now? Well, a few things actually, but we'll get to that later on. But let's talk about the main thing first. Twitter and X. Don't know why it's still called X. Looks like a porn site. It can't just be me. It's like a effing porn site. So we all know how Twitter was before Elon Musk. No one really liked it. It was so kind of like a cesspool. A lot of terrible things were said on that platform. But somehow, we all unanimously agree that once Elon got it, it somehow became even worse. So I kind of want to go over the things he did since gaining power. He made a paid subscription with Twitter Blue. No one asked for. Publishers allowed to charge users. Okay. Banned accounts linking to other social media platforms. No one really likes that. Thousands of layoffs. Okay. Change in leadership. Rebrand as X. And dropping the block feature. So all great ideas by our genius, Tony Stark, real life man, Elon Musk. You know what? We all love him. He's the best. He's so smart, you know? Now you're thinking, wow, this is all kind of bad. What else is he going to do? He can't possibly make it any worse. And then I get an article headline that says Elon Musk says Twitter, now X, is moving to monthly subscription fees and has 550 million users. What, you're telling me you wouldn't want to pay to use Twitter? What? I don't know. It just seems weird decision after weird decision. It seems like he's obsessed with X. His kid's named after X, SpaceX. I don't know if your weird obsession with X is. Maybe there was a guy he met as a kid named X. I don't know. But we'll see how it goes. Let's see what else Elon Musk is. While Elon Musk is not doing weird Twitter stuff, he decided to go to a meeting. And this meeting had some of the, whether you like them or not, had some of the most important people when it came to tech in the world right now. Elon Musk attended an AI tech summit with Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Sundar. And Sundar, you know, is the CEO of Google. Meeting in Washington to discuss future AI regulation. So it was a really who's who, in tech to be here, which is really funny when I think about it, because I think this is the first time Elon and Zuck were in the same room. The last time they talked, I'm pretty sure, was with the boxing fiasco. So that's kind of funny. But what did they really talk about? You know what? They look really happy, really funny. You know, so like they all saw each other. They're like, hey, how you doing? How you doing, guys? And then they all sit down, and then they're all quiet. And then Elon says, yeah, there's some chance above zero that AI will kill us all. I think it's low, but there's some chance. No, he said this after the meeting. But, you know, I just find it like the idea of him they're all at a meeting, all smiling, and someone just says something like, there's some chance above zero that AI will kill us. I find the idea very humorous. Maybe I just have a dark sense of humor. So yeah, you could tell that like they're being really serious about this. AI is a pressing thing. There's a reason why I feel like in all my Tech Tuesdays, AI is going to find a way to squirm its way into my show. You can't ignore it. It's just not going to go away anywhere, which is why it's kind of sad to me. We don't know everything they talked about. It was a closed door meeting, but we do have the reactions of some people who were directly there and saw what they talked about. And some of the quotes they talked about seem to be that when asked, hey, I get we all think this is the problem, but what should we do? It seems like none of them had an answer or said something along the lines of, well, we have to do something. The quotes here say that there's a noticeable lack of engagement on some of the harder questions, she said, particularly on whether a new federal agency is needed to regulate AI. There was no discussion of that, she said. This forum is not designed to produce legislation. Our subcommittee will produce legislation. And I think this quote down here says, says it all, which I think a lot of people are thinking. It's a little bit of antitrust the last 2 years, Holly said. He talks about it constantly, does nothing about it. My sense is this is a lot of song and dance that covers the fact that actually nothing is advancing. I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope you're wrong about that too. But it seems like you got this whole meeting to get some of the most influential people in tech in a room. And then what they come down to is that they realize, hey, we should definitely do something. This is a problem. And then they all go home patting themselves on the back, which I don't like. I find this very scary. Okay, I feel like we need to do something. I feel like nothing's going to happen. And by the time we needed to do something, it's going to be too late. That's what I feel. But in other news, we can't really ignore AI. Just look at that ramp up from the amount of startups that have AI to the amount now. Okay, that's a huge scale. And this only goes to like 2017. But guys, it ramps up so much higher afterwards. That's really scary. I will say though, how do all these AIs work? I briefly talked about it in the last Tech Tuesday about how the AIs work, but that's more of a software scale. What about the hardware? Like, what is the hardware that really makes AI work? Well, the idea is you have the parts that make your computer, and you have your CPU and GPU, okay? And on top of it are a bunch of transistors, okay? So transistors manage your semiconductors, okay? They control the voltage, okay? And as you can imagine, that's really important in a big computer, controlling the voltage, okay? So that's basically all it does. It's really tiny. So the idea is that mainly, if you have more of these, you can do more cool stuff, okay? The more transistors you have, the more powerful the machine is. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of other factors, but just roll with me here. That's the general idea. And now we can talk about this thing called Moore's Law. So Moore's Law was this observation, okay? The number of transistors on a microchip roughly doubles every 2 years, whereas its cost is half over the same amount of time frame. So basically it means that every 2 years, we can get way more these tiny little transistors onto a microchip, which means they can get more and more powerful. The problem is now that transistors can only get so small. So we're kind of running into this problem now where it can only get so powerful, which is why you had to go into other stuff like quantum computing. So yeah, and we can't get any smaller. So what happened was these guys at MIT figured out a crazy way to say, we don't care how small it is anymore. Okay, we can just make the electrons and stuff like that move even faster, which is a really cool idea. I don't really know how they possibly did this. I tried to read it. You know what I like to do, guys? I try to explain things. I try to read it to help you guys out a little bit. I feel like there's a little above my pay rate a little bit. But what I understood from it is that they do something with photons in order to make the electrical current between transistors move even faster than they already do now. So because of that, they don't need to keep making them smaller anymore. So they can just do this instead, which I found pretty fucking cool. Going to more AI, people have been using AI all the time. AI is so crazy that even teachers use AI more than the students do, which isn't that surprising. Guys, I part-time tutor, and one of the guys today asked me to just check his college essay for grammar stuff, make it sound better. And to be honest, for part of it, I just use ChatGPT, like, and just other stuff to just do it, and spell check. Like, people, it makes sense. Like, people, or if I have like a list of problems I need them to do like really quickly, instead of searching online, I can just ask an AI to just generate easy problems. Like, I completely believe this is true, that teachers want to do this, that they just, but learning about some of these students, it really seems like some of these students really need it. It really seems like some of these students really need the AI. Because in this study, I found that most students don't recognize all these math words, which is kind of concerning. Students did not recognize all these math words. So let's see: exponential function, divisor, quadratic function, proper number, linear equation, vectors, complex number, rational number, radical, subjective scaling, polygon, declarative fraction, congruent figure, cosine, arithmetic mean, probability. So hopefully you may not know exactly what these means, but hopefully you recognize some of these words. But what's scary that a lot of them don't. So I hope you guys in the chat recognize what all these mean. If you said you do recognize all these, then I fooled you. Because three of these are fake math terms that don't exist, okay? And this whole test was actually a big test to figure out that American teenagers are more likely than any other nationality to brag about their math ability. Also, funny enough, overclaimers were also more likely to say that they were more popular with their peers at school. So it sounds like American boys are just really stupid. So hopefully I'm trying to get at, because these people are really dumb, overconfident in their abilities, they're probably going to use AI. They probably need to use AI because they're just, not that good at it. So what are we going to do? As a teacher myself, if I'm a teacher, I'm okay with using AI. But my students, I wouldn't be okay with them using AI because I want them to learn. I want them to do stuff. So what can we possibly do to stop all this, the students from using the AI, or just like make them actually learn? Let me enter this guy. His last name's Tien. Oh my God. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I forgot his first name. I think it was Eric or something. Let me just, Edward. Oh, I knew it started with. So this guy, Edward Tien. So what did he do? He saw this problem when ChatGPT arose. He was very scared that this would happen. So he made a cool thing called GPT-0. So anyway, ChatGPT-0. So what is ChatGPT-0 exactly? It's an AI detector. It can figure out whether you're actually human. So apparently I can type in stuff in here. It can pretty much determine if it's a real AI or not. Generate a video idea. Generate a list of YouTube videos. All right, cool. So this is what's happening. I just normal ChatGPT stuff, and then I'll just copy it when it's done. And go into here, and it should be able to tell me whether or not it's made by 95% written by an AI. Where was I though? Anyway, yeah. So this is really cool. And learning about, I really want to learn more about like AI and just stuff like that, and just like how you can really tell if it's human or AI. So here we're at our section, our favorite section of the Tech Tuesday, where we get to our section of how does that work, where I do a mini deep dive and just talk about how does something really work. And it all goes back to Yahoo, guys. If you remember Yahoo Mail. So Yahoo Mail had a huge problem. And their problem is that they had all these all these messages. Your classic, oh my God, it's like, I'm your I'm your African uncle. I just need $10 million. Too many of those spam messages. And they needed some kind of way to figure out what was human message and what was AI. Which one of those was my real African uncle? They needed a way to figure that out. So they need a way to determine whether it was a machine or a human. Man or machine. That was the big problem they had to ask. That's where we get this guy to show up. You might not know this man, but you definitely know the stuff he made. This guy is the CEO of Duolingo. But before he made Duolingo, he made a lot of money on his last business venture, which is CAPTCHA. Ever seen one of these? CAPTCHA, completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. That is actually what it stands for. I had no idea. So the idea is you just type in stuff, and if you could figure this out, then you know it's a human. This guy thought, okay, I have millions of people typing in stuff for free using my software. Surely I can do something more important than this. And he said, why don't we just make it so that when they're typing in something from a book, that when we were trying to digitize all these books and we don't know what it says, so why don't we just get humans to just do it for us? So the way this would work, they have this part right here be the one where they know the answer, and this one right here, they have no idea what the answer is. So the idea is if you know what this one is, then they check if you got this right. And enough people said the same answer for this, if enough people said this was morning, then they say, oh, that's morning. And then that was a really smart way for them to do that and translate all these different books, which is really smart idea in my opinion. And frankly, I'm not the only one who saw that it was a smart idea either. Google saw it and acquired it for between 10 and 100 million dollars. Seems like a big range to me. I feel like if I sold my company to Google, I could tell you the exact number amount, not just between 10 and 100 million, but you know what? I've never sold my company for that amount of money, so who knows? So yeah, then Google started to overtime this, do this for all of New York Times archives, and then they digitize every single book, which is great. The slight problem is that robots and machines were getting really good at doing these. In fact, so good at doing them that when Google did a test in 2014, 99.8% of robots could pass it, when only 33% of humans could pass reCAPTCHA. So they said that we have to change this. We have to figure this out. And what they decided to change it, they changed it to this. Check the Amna robot box and check all the traffic lights. I know, our favorite thing in the world. It's like, oh, is that a traffic light? I don't know, that's kind of in the image. I don't know, your favorite thing in the world. And the way to do this is that we know which ones for sure are traffic lights, and when there are ones we're ambiguous about. So if they get all the ones right, for sure, and then like one or two ambiguous ones, then we know they're probably a human. And then way with the I'm the robot, if you ever wondered, how does this possibly know if I'm a robot or not, if I can just click a button? Well, the thing is, when you click the button, that's the check. It's checking whether you move like an actual human. Because you know, humans, robots will just go straight directly in a straight, most perfect straight line ever, no wasted movement, straight to the checkbox. Humans will like curve a little bit, they'll be a little weird with their line, they'll like do stuff like this. So when you're checking the box, they actually check how you get there, how you get to the box at all. That's how you know whether you're a human or not. So that's how they do the checks now. I found this really funny video from one of the best YouTubers describing his experience with these traffic light problems. I feel like a lot of you guys can relate to this.
I'm getting in line right now. Wait, are you? No! Why?
What happened?
It's trying to verify my humanity, man! Come on! I need these shoes! Come on! Are those cars or SUVs? Is it even type sensitive? They don't specify. Please. Okay, I can do this one. This is easy. Select all images with cars. There's no cars, man! What do I pick? What square? What do I pick? Okay. All right. Wait. This little piece of the car wheel spilling out to the next box. Should I pick that? Do I pick this? No! Explain to me how that's wrong, man! This is time sensitive. I need... Solve using the quadratic form. I don't remember this! But I don't remember... Oh, please! I need help! Please help! Help! I'm human! Please! I'm guessing.
All right, so I hope you get the point across how people feel about these types. I know that's how I used to feel about them. I know he was joking about like how these are gonna get so ridiculous, but the funny enough thing is, if they do get that ridiculous, those might actually be decent tests. And the reason why is because the test would be, if you can solve this, you probably are a robot. And if you just randomly guess, you are a human. Because that seems to be what the next CAPTCHA really is. We get to Google's latest version, CAPTCHA 3, okay? And how this works is that you might not even notice this is on the site. You might notice that you don't have to check the not a robot as much anymore. And that's because of reCAPTCHA 3. And the way it works is you go on the site and it already knows whether you're a robot or not. How does it know this? It knows this because in the background, it's checking all your data, all your traffic, what websites you go on, how you move your mouse, and all that. And then with that, it figures out whether you're a human or not. It says, well, this guy goes to really weird sites, he searches really weird things, and he does like a weird mouse stuff whenever he's online. This guy's probably a human. Versus a robot, it says, well, this guy went to the same website 1,000 times and then copied and pasted the same thing like within a millisecond and directly moved his mouse perfectly in a straight line every single time he did that without messing up once. This guy's probably a robot. And that's how they do it now in the background. Now, ethical stuff aside, with just Google just tracking all your data all the time, we did it. It is what it is. This is life now. If you didn't like it, you should have sent something beforehand. This is just how it is now. Because again, if I learned anything by just studying tech, it's that people will say they don't like a lot of things, but if it's convenient enough and you can hide it from their faces, we won't care. Whether you like that or not, it is what it is. So that's reCAPTCHA 3. And it seems like AI is becoming like, there's always like, if you notice, there's always a cat and mouse thing where the AI tries to become more and more human every time. And it seems like that's what's happening. So now with reCAPTCHA 3, maybe the way to actually solve it is to dumb down your robot. Make it do random things on purpose. Make it purposely move in not the perfect straight line. Make it really dumb. Maybe that's where it needs to go. Robots becoming more human. That's where it seems like it needs to go for AI to really, pass these CAPTCHAs. And it seems like AI in general is becoming more human. What I've seen is that as AI goes on, there are a lot of things that humans have to wrestle philosophically. We always ask ourselves how we're always different. For a while, it was like, okay, obviously I'm different from a robot, okay, because I'm skin and bone, biology. And it's like, well, okay, if you replace your arm, are you not with a robot arm, are you not a human anymore? And stuff like that. And it's like, well, of course I'm still a human. Okay, well, it doesn't seem to be biology then. Okay, what is it? It's like, well, I'm a logical thinker. Okay, a calculator won't be able to think as logically as me. And then we have all these bots that are easily able to beat chess grandmasters all the time. It's like, okay, well, it's not that. Well, then it comes back to art. It's like, well, they're not as creative as me. We have that. No one will be able to make an art piece as well as me, not my creativity. But it seems to be, in the latest study I found, that AI chatbots surpass the average human in creativity. What are we? So it really seems like we're just gonna be really fucked. So one thing I read in this study is how the heck do you even measure creativity? The way they tend to measure creativity in someone is they give them an object, like a random object, and they ask them how many different uses can you think to use this object, and that's how they measure creativity. So you could argue that maybe not the best metric, but it seems like that's the standard metric to measure how creative somebody is. And it seems like AIs are better than an average human at doing that. Of course, there's other stuff along the way. They have to be all distinct uses and really vary uses. So you can't say a bat, I hit something, I hit a ball, I hit a chair. It has to be different stuff. But it seems like AI chatbots are better than humans at this. So what are we getting at? Are AI just destined to make better art than us? Okay, I mean, this art piece by an AI did win a first place, so maybe that's just where it's headed. But what I see it as is a tool. I feel like AI can be used for great things and it can be used for really bad things. Now I'm here with Stanford's new AI tool that they made, where they're trying to combine AI and actual art stuff, so it doesn't replace you but only helps you. It's called Spellburst.
When producing digital artwork, artists are repeatedly translating expressive semantic intents into lines of code. Keep track of different creative variations, and compare, combine, and extend emergent output to further their exploration. Interviews with expert artists helped us understand that existing programming environments don't lend themselves well to this form of creative exploratory process.
So I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit and just show how it works. So you have a sketch pad right here.
Trip to Spain. Inspired by this, they start with a blank sketch, then write a simple prompt to create stained glass cells with the first modify node. Based on this prompt, Spellburst generates the code for a basic stained glass window template made up of various irregular polygons. Next, Merlin opens up the parameters panel to unveil several dynamic semantic sliders, where the phrase beautiful, intricate is linked to the colors in the sketch. By duplicating the node and creating a new branch, Merlin tries out different color variations of the artwork. Since the original sketch isn't exactly what Merlin wants, they add a modify node that make the cells look slightly three-dimensional.
The idea anyway is that at the end of the day, you get this branch-like structure of all the different possibilities you could have tried. Where if you do art before, maybe you have to draw something and then redraw it and then redraw it again and try it with this color instead, but it seems like you can do all this now, plus with the generative art AI, which, you know what, I'm going to say it, I think it's pretty cool. I want to get better at art. I want to get better at drawing. I'm not the best artists, but I think this is really cool. So yeah, that's what AI art is at. So maybe AI won't take our jobs. Okay, they'll only take most of our jobs. And with that, I want to say, if you like this video, you YouTube frogs, make sure you like, follow, or subscribe. And that has been the second episode of Tech Tuesday.